Hi everyone. I know most of you probably don't know me, so my name is Katie Sprague. I am 32 years old, and I was actually born and raised in Southwest Florida. I was probably about 21, 22 years old whenever I fell into the wrong crowd and kind of fell into drugs and alcohol and just was able to maintain my addiction for several years before it completely spiraled out of control. So it was a long road. I hit rock bottom on June 18th, 2016, and I was arrested. From there, I decided that it was time to put it all behind me. I was 28 years old. So I had a pretty crazy run with some pretty crazy people. And when I got out, I decided to stay clean. And I actually have been. I just celebrated my 4 years of being clean from drugs back in June. So that was very exciting. Once I was out, of course, I was put on probation. I was on Florida State probation. And I was 52 days clean when I found out that I was actually pregnant with my son. So it's all in God's timing. That's an understatement. If it were to have happened any sooner, I'm not sure that the outcome would be what it is now. So that's definitely something I'm very grateful for. I had my son in March of 2017, and he was about 5 months old when this beautiful disaster, and you'll understand what I mean by that when I say beautiful disaster, but it was actually a natural disaster. Hurricane Irma came through the state of Florida, and when it was on its way, it's not like tornadoes here in the Midwest where you have like no time to prepare. You have plenty of time to prepare. You even have the calm before the storm where it literally looks like nothing is coming and then it hits out of nowhere. So with a 5-month-old, I was really worried about the aftermath in the Florida summer with not having AC and who knew for how long. So I evacuated and I came to St. Joseph, Missouri, where my aunt lives, and I stayed here with her for 7 or 8 days. Because I was still on probation, I did have to go back to Florida, which was one of the hardest things I had to do. I think that summer you guys had like this crazy drought, and then the night that I had to leave, it downpoured rain. It was almost like something out of a novel. It was very emotional, and apparently whenever we pulled out of the driveway, my uncle looked over at my aunt and said, she just needs a fresh start. By then I had already been clean for over a year, but the struggle was still there. If it wasn't for my parents, for my mom, and I wouldn't have been able to pay for my own bills, support myself, support my son. His dad and I were still kind of off and on at that point. And just the whole drive home, it's a 24-hour straight drive, just kept thinking that this is really where I wanted to be. But like, how could I do it? What would I have to do? And since my uncle said what he said to my aunt, she got online, and I think I was somewhere in Tennessee when I got a text came through, and it was about Pivotal Point. So I was actually getting gas somewhere in Georgia, and I had remembered that she had sent me this text. So while I was fueling up, I got online, I clicked the link, and I just kind of read all about this amazing program. And the thing that really just kept like jumping out at me was 95% success rate over 30 years to be self-sufficient. That was the biggest thing for me at that point. Just to be able to support myself, support my son, give us a better life. I mean, there's nothing wrong with living paycheck to paycheck, but I just really wanted some sort of better personal goal for myself and for my son. So by the time I got back down to Florida and unloaded the car, I got online, I filled out the application, and you are supposed to call every week to keep your spot, and I did. And I had to do that for about 3 months because I was on probation. I had to wait for the transfer to go through from the state of Florida to the state of Missouri. And it was 2 or 3 days before Christmas, and I got a phone call from my PO, and he said, "Hey, congratulations, your transfer came through. They want you to report on the 28th. And I said, "Well, I can't do that. I have to leave on Christmas." So he pushed it back a couple days. So I left Florida on December 30th, 2017, and it was 12:05 a.m. on January 1st of 18 that I pulled into my aunt's house. Everybody was celebrating that I was here because of the fireworks. That's what I say, but I know it was for New Year's. So I called and said, "Hey, I'm here. I made it. What do I need to do?" So I came in and I spoke with some of the ladies, and basically what it was at that point was find a job, and then we can go from there. So again, that was January 1st. I started my job that I'm actually still at Hershey and Company on January 22nd, which was a Monday, and I moved in to Pivotal Point on January 25th, 2018. So that's when I came to Pivotal Point.